the place of character in business. Yes. The first challenge is to define character. Character may be defined as the habits that have possessed you. The habits, things that you have done in the past, repeatedly, that have become part and parcel of you, that define you. And once your habits define you, these habits will define your destiny. If you must change your destiny, the first thing is to go back to your character and begin to effect changes in your character. And since the character is an agglomeration of habits, you've got to begin to isolate your habits. Which ones are detrimental to your progress, and which one add value to the journey of life that you are on. And we have written before now a small booklet, about 19, 20, 21 pages, which we have shared again this morning on our forum, Ebony World. Of course, the challenge is whether people read. And in introducing that booklet, we depicted the image of this man who is working on himself. Your character cannot be transmitted by association. Character cannot be transmitted by genetic mutation. Characters are habits, practices that have become so entrenched in you that they hold you bound and they define you. Initially, you are the master, but eventually they master you. And to change them, you need to again begin to subject them to you. Now, in introducing us to this subject of character, I would like to represent the introductory passage of that, our small write-up. And this was written by Gbenga Adebambo in the Guardian article of November 23, 2019, titled, "The Character That Stinks Will Eventually Sink." The character that stinks will eventually sink. If you do not conquer self, you will be conquered by self. Napoleon Hill. Destiny decays when character declines. The Athenian statesman Critias said, "If you discipline yourself within, you will be less vulnerable to the injury from outside." If you discipline yourself within, you'll be less vulnerable to injury from outside. In life, you need more than a willing spirit to fulfill destiny. And we've said your character will define your destiny. Once your character is set, your destiny is sealed. Self-discipline is the ability to do what is right. To do what is right, even if you don't feel like it. Living a principled life is the hallmark of winners. Great people are greatly principled. Great people are greatly principled. The challenge we have is that of characterless characters in authority who unfortunately are products of a delinquent society, and everything you see in the leaders you also see in the followers. They are not principled. The average man on the street is not principled in any way. The core secret of winners is held up in the belief that to go up in life, there are things you need to give up. If you want to go up in life, there are things you must give up. And that is what this image is depicting. As you can see, that gentleman is working on himself and releasing a lot of load that is weighing him down. There are two ways of learning in life, either by instruction or by destruction. Winners don't just show up suddenly. They are all products of a rigorous and disciplined system. There must be a system. It cannot be instinctive. It cannot be spontaneous. It must be predictable. It works this way, and that's the way it works. Alan Armstrong said, for those of us who know him, champions do not become champions when they win the event, but in hours, weeks, months, and years they spend preparing for it. To become a champion, you must already be a champion. The victorious performance itself is merely the demonstration of their championship character. They have had to change their habits. They have had to change their routine. They have had to discipline themselves to a new system that is not even comfortable for them, that they have subjected themselves for years. And then what happens? You just see a demonstration of that in a few seconds, in a few minutes, and you think that is where the champion emerged. The champion emerged before the championship. Lao Tzu said, "He who gains victory over other men is strong, but he who gains victory over himself is all powerful. You therefore are your own worst enemy. Every other person outside is only assisting you." Yes. One of my most fascinating books ever on discipline, Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win, is co-authored by a retired Navy SEAL commander in the U.S. Navy, Jocko Willink, who talked extensively on how we must always take ownership of our lives and that nobody must ever be the reason why we fail in life. He succinctly captured his idea about discipline in one quote when he said, "Discipline equals freedom. Discipline equals freedom. If somebody still has to compel you to do things in a disciplined fashion, you are not free. You are not free. Discipline equals what? Freedom. As a youth pastor and leadership coach, I have observed with unfailing accuracy that what ultimately destroys a man at the top are actually indiscipline, habit, and sin that followed him there. Finally, R. Kelly goes to 20 years in jail for pornography, statutory rape, and other sexual offenses. He was unarguably one of the best R&B recording artists of all times. I have never known such brilliant lyrics and melody sounds as him. I still remember his greatest hit of all times that shook the world, I Believe I Can Fly. I also remember another smashing hit of his, If I Could Turn. He was a solid master in his craft, a virtuoso of the mic. He did no wrong when he hit the stage. He was lord of that stage, with a charismatic nature that no one could contend. I remember all. Up to this moment, they still resonate in my head. They still serenade my senses. But the turn of event has reduced a star to a piece of bread. So here we are, from 3-time Grammy Award winner to wearing prison overall. As much as I feel justice should stay its course, my heart still bleeds for this great legend. My heart bleeds to see what this guy has been reduced to, a defeated and despondent figure, helpless and hopeless. Now he's paying for his choice of life, now convicted to spend 20 years. This means he should be over 70 after serving his prison term. Really sad. Plato said, "For a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victories." For a man to conquer himself is the first victory and is the noblest of all victories. When R. Kelly was acquitted and his case dismissed over a decade before for child pornography, his brother, Kerry Kelly, called him on the phone and told him, "Hey man, God has given you another chance." The singer's response, according to his brother during an interview, was, "No, God didn't give me another chance. I gave myself another chance. My money gave me another chance." Since over a decade after his acquittal, R. Kelly never learned. He never changed. He took the fact that the judgment was in his favor for granted. He continued his salacious act of sleeping with underage girls. He forgot that it was only a matter of time before his actions would catch up with him big time. Fyodor Dostoevsky said, "It seems, in fact, as though the second half of a man's life is made up of nothing but the habits he has accumulated during the first half. What would eventually bring a man down from a great height is actually the habit that followed him there." You cannot be a winner with a loser's habits. Successful people are simply those with successful habits. And we discussed this the last time. Wealthy people are simply those with wealth habits. Poor people are simply those with poor habits. Depending on what they are, our habits will either make or break us. Any habit that you refuse to deal with in the present will deal with you in the future. And we still keep on talking about timeliness. 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 I believe we take delight in late entrance. I believe we take delight in being the last to come into an arena. I believe we feel that we are unsanctionable. Anything goes. I believe we think that because nobody holds us to account, we are unaccountable. That is not true at all. As we'll see from our meeting on Saturday, many have negotiated away their helpers of destiny by simply not keeping appointments. Many have negotiated away their destinies by themselves by simply refusing to keep appointments. Many have forfeited great contracts by simply refusing to befriend time. The habits that would destroy a man are those that followed him to wherever he is. So successful people are simply people with successful habits. Depending on what they are, our habits would either break us or make us. Any habit you refuse to deal with in the present will deal with you in the future. Stop that habit of pornography. Stop that habit of masturbation. Stop that habit of lying. Stop that habit of anger, or whatever it is that is holding you back from living a fulfilling life. You have to face your bad habits so that you can face them out. A former president of the US, Harry Truman, said, "In reading the lives of great men, I found that the first victory they won was the victory over themselves. Self-discipline, with all of them, came first." At the height of his fame and career, R. Kelly was one of the most recognized entertainment personalities in the world. Apart from his many accomplishments, his outrageous, undisciplined, and controversial behavior with underage girls and deep involvement with child pornography had kept him in the public eye and in the courtroom. He was a man noted for his undisciplined sex escapade and erratic behavior. Jim Rohn said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments." Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Character matters in everything, including business. Beauty without manner cannot sustain you in marriage. Intelligence without character cannot make you outstanding. Power without discipline will end you in futilities. What are you blessed with? Never take advantage of others, as it may not end well. Again, Jim Rohn said, "We must all suffer one of two things: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret." The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. It is either we suffer the pain of change or suffer remaining the way we are. I'm reaching out to all the youth out there in the words of Max Dupree. We cannot become what we want to be by remaining what we are. We need to constantly adjust ourselves to get the best out of life. Destiny decays when discipline declines. If life doesn't teach you anything, let it teach you to acknowledge the grace and mercy of God. Let it teach you never to take things for granted, to learn from your mistakes when you are given a second chance. Let it teach you to introspect and observe your conscience. Above all, let it teach you to cut off the habits that have the potential to cut you down in the future. End of this beautiful write-up by this wonderful, thoughtful individual. I think again, his name is Adebambo Benga. In that beautiful article written in The Guardian of November 23, 2019. So that forms the background. What he was looking at was the life of R. Kelly, how he ended up, falling from his high pedestal to his position of ignominy, that is now a convict serving time in jail, in spite of all his accomplishments. We are looking at this because of the question that was asked by one of us, I think last week. What is the place of character in business? That's what we're considering this morning. And so, we have looked at this, and we are saying you either burn down your bad habits, or your bad habits will burn you down. You either burn down your bad habits or your bad habits will burn you down. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. That's Helen Keller. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. And then John Warren also said, be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is what merely others think you are. And which one do you think is true? What you think you are. You know yourself, you know who you are. You know yourself. You know yourself more than anybody can know you. You know what you do in your secret place. So you know yourself. That is your character. Not your display, open display of virtues, open display of beauty. No. You know yourself more than anybody knows you. You know the things you are hiding under your clothes. You know the things you are hiding in your bedroom. You know the things that you are keeping low now until a time for them to be exposed. You know yourself more than anyone. So we are going to look at quickly some of these vices. We started with vices, and I would just like to continue in that light. Some of these vices. And then we're also going to look at some of these virtues. Because, like I said, it's a book. We've already pushed it to us. We have it. Everybody has it now. You can't say you don't have it. Go back and read it. But we'll just touch on them very briefly, and then we'll take questions, and we'll end this class, so we can also go on to something else next week. The first vice that we are looking at is called ego. E-G-O. Ego. Ego. Many will have been great today, but yesterday their ego stood in the way. What is ego? Ego is you overrating you, looking down on others, puffed up. Do they know who I am? Do they know who I am? But wait a second. Who are you? Who are you? When someone is bold enough to ask you, who are you? You take offense that you have just been insulted. But really, who are you? Do you know yourself? Who are you? Have you taken time to introspect at a very deep level? To try to find out who you are? Let me tell you the truth. Many of our problems arise from our misunderstood identity. We don't even know who we are. You are not Ijo. You call yourself Ijo. They throw you inside water. You begin to sink. Eh? Do you know who you really are? I'm not talking about your name. I'm not talking about your family. I'm not talking about your heritage. I'm not talking about your genealogy. I'm talking about you, the naked you, when stripped of all the paraphernalia of office or position. Who are you deep within? If you find out who you are, and you understand who you are about to begin the journey of fulfilling your destiny. And how can you fulfill your destiny if you don't even know who you are anyway? How can you accomplish you? How can you self-actualize when yourself, you are confused about who you are? So when somebody really asks you next time, who are you? Don't take it as an insult. Take it as a challenge. Say because they will not believe unless they do what? They see signs and they see wonders. Don't tell us who you are. Show us who you are. The question strikes at the core of your essence. The very reason for your being. Many do not have an answer for this existential question. Without a personal answer to this question, your character will have little or no substance. Before you can be successful, you have to know who you are. That's Robert Kiyosaki, quote unquote. Before you can be successful, you have to know who you are. That's the beginning of your journey to success. Number 2 vice, lies. Lies. Falsehood. Half-truth. Misrepresentation. Deception. Going back on your words. Ebony world has zero tolerance for lies, as this is a negation of our core value of trust. Never lie to those who trust you, and never trust those who lie to you. There is no ambivalence whatsoever. Do not lie to one another. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. Say exactly what you mean and mean exactly what you say. Not do as I say and don't do as I do. Why? Because action speaks louder than words. Next is cheating. Cheating is bending the rules for a personal gain. Acting unfairly to gain an advantage. The rules are clear. Let us abide by them. You don't have to cheat to win. In any case, cheaters are losers finally. Any advantage secured by cheating will fade away. In the end, it weakens the cheater. It weakens him, soul and body. Bribery. Bribery can be described as to dishonestly persuade someone to act in one's favor by a gift of money or other inducement. To dishonestly persuade someone to act in one's favor by a gift of money or other inducement. Bribery is corrupting, and corruption makes a victim of everyone. Corruption punishes everybody. Corruption victimizes the corrupt and the innocent, the offender and the innocent. This is the challenge with corruption. Bribery is the firstborn of corruption. Bribery is the firstborn of corruption. Do you give it? Do you take it? I am not talking about where you are forced to bring out something, perhaps even under gunpoint, especially at the robbery centers that we normally masquerade as checkpoints. When you are totally helpless and somebody is carrying a gun and he's saying, bring this, gently. As a wise person, what should you do? It's not the time to begin to read. You don't resist a man who is carrying the gun. So need the trigger. All it takes is an accidental discharge, and you are gone. A mother and son returned from the US some time ago. Maybe that's about a year and a half now. And they were journeying from Lagos by road to Benin. Of course, they brought some household items that they were transferring along. And they got to somewhere, and policeman was now demanding 3,000. And the guy was frustrated. Young blood, hot. Why should I be giving you money? We've been giving since. We've paid, we've done all this. The man cocked the gun and just killed him. On the spot. He killed him on the spot. They beat him. But we don't even know what came of the story finally, because it became just an internal trial of police to police. Of course, the life is lost anyway. Am I saying we should become their accomplice? No. I'm simply saying it's only the one who is alive that can fight for his rights. A living dog is more powerful and more potent than a dead lion. So bribery is corrupting, and this corruption victimizes the whole society, everybody. We all lose in the end. The next is envy. Envy. Jokingly we are told that envy and jealousy is just one class away from witchcraft. Just one step away from witchcraft. A feeling of discontented or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, someone else's qualities or looks, or painful or resentful awareness of an advantage enjoyed by another, joined with a desire to possess the same advantage. You are envious of what another man appears to be enjoying, but you are not aware of his travels. You are not aware of the price that he has paid and he is paying to continue to be in that state. You don't know what process he has gone through. Mary, the mother of John and James, came to Jesus. Said, Lord, in your kingdom, let my 2 sons be with you. One on your left, one on your right. Jesus looked at her. That's very nice. But can they drink of the cup that I'm about to drink of? Can they? Jesus said, even if they can, it is not given to me to decide who will be on my left and on my right. That is for the Father to decide. You don't know what agreement he has already had with the Father before he came. So you don't know what grace is upon him. Like you said, say many fail in the exam of life. Somebody else's script. Their questions are totally different. They are copying somebody else's script. Envy. Of course, when there's too much envy, what will follow? Stealing. Stealing and killing. So stealing. That's the next vice. Taking with intent to possess something over which you do not have authority. You don't have title. And you don't have a legal right. Stealing is a vice that should not even be mentioned among us in Ebony world. Should not even be mentioned at all among us. Stealing is a repudiation of self. It diminishes the human soul. Stealing belittles a man. You don't understand. When you steal, it diminishes you. If your eyes are still seeing, even in your own eyes, because you'll be ashamed, don't want people to know, right? When you steal, you want it hidden from public view that you've stolen, right? Because you know it diminishes you. You yourself, you know it. If you still have any iota of some sense left, So the one who steals is lower than a human. That's the truth. It's lower than a human. Stealing dehumanizes the human soul. We don't steal not because we don't desire, but because we are just too proud to steal. We are too proud. We are too self-aware. We are too self-conscious of who we are. When you know who you are, you know the son of who you are, you know the kind of destiny and the kind of grace that's upon you, you won't steal. You just will not steal. How come people are stealing all over the place? You steal hundreds of billions and then you go home laughing and your wife and children welcome you. You don't understand. People that are worse than animals. Because even animals do not aggregate what they are not going to use. Animals only take what they need from nature. And that's all. Stealing should not even be mentioned among us. Next is arrogance. Arrogance. Arrogance is simply exaggerating or disposed to exaggerate one's own worth or importance, often by an overbearing manner. This is when a person believes he is better than others, knows more than everyone else, or when a person believes he is capable of something he is really not capable of. Arrogance drives away helpers of destiny. Arrogance drives away helpers, people who would have come to your assistance, because you have displayed that you are capable. You have capabilities that you don't even have. And they assume you have it. That's a vice. Next is drunkenness. Drunkenness is simply an evidence of avarice. Isn't it? It's an evidence of avarice. Why should you drink until you are drunken? You should know what is just okay for you, right? This is the state of an individual whose mind is affected by the consumption of alcohol. Your mind is bent, and then you can do all manner of things under what they call influence. You can drive and kill people, innocent people. You can rape without even knowing it. You can sleep in the gutter. You can poo-poo in your sitting room. Alcohol debases a man. And people acting under the influence of alcohol are totally irrational. Is there any advantage in drunkenness? I didn't say in drinking. Is there any advantage in drunkenness? Is there any? Is there any? I'm asking us.
No.
None whatsoever. So why waste your resources? And it's actually also a waste of resources anyway. You have taken over and above what is apt for you, what is right for you. You are wasting resources. Next is indiscipline, which we looked at in our opening story. Indiscipline is simply a lack of control. And some of the causes of indiscipline are: 1. Unfair management practices. 2. Absence of effective leadership. 3. Communication barriers. 4. Varying discipline measures according to the offender. 5. Defective supervision. 6. Inadequate attention to personal problems. 7. Victimization. 8. absence of code of conduct, where there are no standards of conduct. So anything goes. Everybody does what they like. Indiscipline is like cancer. It destroys the fabric of society. Indiscipline is like cancer because it's infectious. When someone is indisciplined and gains undue advantage, eventually what happens? Everybody begins to do the same. It moves from one to another, it moves from one to another. And we now see it as normal. Society is destroyed. That becomes the norm rather than exception. Another vice is gossiping. Gossiping. Casual or unconstrained and unsubstantiated report about other people, typically involving details that are not confirmed as being true. You just take something like this. When you amplify it, it becomes history. So that by the time it gets back to its origin, they are wondering where this came from. Especially in word by mouth transmission of defamatory information or conversation. By the time I defame Sister A to you, you take it to tell Mr. B, you embellish it a little. He takes it and goes to Mr. C. He also adds his own and takes it away a little. By the time he gets to Z and come back to me, A who started it, I wonder where this came from. This is not what I said. Then you get the best that this is not what I said. The next one, this is not what I said. Then who said what? A gossiper is an idle hand, and an idle hand is the devil's workshop. A gossip is an idle hand, and an idle hand is a devil's workshop. Therefore, a gossip is an agent of the devil. Small minds discuss people. Great minds discuss issues. Therefore, you have a choice. I advise you, choose greatness. Choose what? Choose greatness. Next is hatred. Hatred. This is resentment that is usually mutual. Prejudiced, hostility, or animosity. Hatred leads to emotions of anger, pathological dislike of a person, a thing or condition, extreme dislike, ill will, where you are full of bile for someone. You think nothing good of them, and all you just want is for something bad to happen to them. And this is the problem. You are now carrying the dominant thoughts of what? Destruction. Those are your dominant thoughts. And what does the Bible say? As a man thinks in his heart, so what? When you think of destruction, your mind doesn't know the difference between good and bad thoughts. Whatever you think predominantly becomes you. And so what happens? The very same things that you are thinking should happen to someone else begin to manifest in your life. And then you still blame the other person as the cause of your problem, when in fact you are the author and finisher of your own travails. Following quickly to anger is the word, to hatred is the word anger. Anger. What is anger? A strong feeling of annoyance, a strong feeling of displeasure, a strong feeling of hostility, A strong feeling of being upset or annoyed because of something wrong or bad. Anger is fire smoldering in the bosom of the carrier. He will get burnt first. Anger is just one letter short of danger. Let it go. Let it go. Anger is one step away from danger. Anger is one step away from danger. Then the almighty greed. What is it that the love of money is the root of all evil? No. Greed. When they say the love of money, they're actually saying greed. Because who doesn't like money? Is there anybody who can do without money? Huh? Even God himself said, the gold is mine. The silver too is mine. Money answereth all things. So, it is greed that is the root of all evil. The act of acquiring more than is required. It's only greed that can even make a person to be drunk. As I said before, it's greed that can make you to get drunk. Free booze. Especially by unlawful means. Selfish desire for something, for wealth, for power, or for food. Greed arises generally from a presupposition of there never going to be enough to go around or sustain one's future needs or desired lifestyle. It is delusional, as there is enough to meet everybody's need, but not enough to meet everybody's greed. The love of or greed for money is the root of all evil. It comes from a scarcity mindset. That everything will soon be exhausted. It will soon be exhausted. It will soon be exhausted. Before it gets exhausted, let me corner as much as I can for myself and my family. That's where greed comes from. So you are never having enough. Though what you have not been able to finish it. The next is gluttony. Gluttony. Gluttony is a form of greed. But this greed is for food. Gluttony is a form of greed for food or for drinks. It is detrimental to sound physical, mental, and spiritual health. It is detrimental to sound physical, mental, and spiritual health. A glutton will usually fall for anything. He runs a life of anywhere belly face. He has little or no scruples as long as his fleshly desires are met. He can't go far in life. They never go far. That their gluttony will be their destruction. Next is adultery. Adultery. Voluntary sexual intercourse between married person and a person who is not their spouse. It is not to be in our community. Ebony World? Ebony World? It is not to be in our community. It is a cardinal betrayal of trust. When a husband releases his wife to be among us, he trusts us. When a wife releases her husband to be among us, she trusts us. We should not betray that trust. Okay? Then, of course, another rampant one is laziness. Laziness is a vice. Many are just lazy. Many are just lazy. Wanting others to do for you what you are unwilling to do for yourself. That's laziness. And it's rampant amongst us. Laziness. Laziness. Unwillingness to work or use energy. Low productivity. You're lazy. And then you blame others. Others are lateness. I don't want to spend too much time on those. I'll just mention them. Lateness, arriving late or later than the appointed time. Lateness robs everybody concerned a piece of their lives. It means you do not honor or take yourself seriously. If you don't take yourself seriously, why should anybody else? Uncleanliness, another one. Cleanliness, they say, is what? Next to godliness. Uncleanliness of your person, of your environment, even of your mind. Out of uncleanness will come unclean thoughts. Tribalism, intolerance, impatience, racism, debauchery, skepticism, fear. And this one is the one that just kills us. It immobilizes us. Fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. When fear knocks on the door, let faith answer. When faith answers, fear will disappear. And as a matter of fact, that same thing you are afraid of is also afraid of you, by the way. I'm telling you. That circumstance you are afraid of is also afraid of you. Just be bold. Face your fears. Fear will never allow you to dare. To dare for greatness. To dare for success. To dare for the extraordinary. Fear won't allow you. The greatest fear is the fear of failure. That's the greatest fear. What if I fail? What if I fail? What if? And so if you fail, no, what if you fail? Don't you understand that failure is one step away from success? Each failure is only one step away from success. Once you realize that failure is a part of success, the future becomes very bright. You rejoice in failure. You dance when you fail. It's an opportunity to learn how not to fail. That which you are afraid of is equally afraid of you. Therefore, let faith rise with fear. As the fear increases, let your faith also increase. As your fear increases, let your faith increase. Pessimism. And we see that a lot. People are so pessimistic. People are so pessimistic. Give them opportunity. But the one that I even heard yesterday, of course I've heard it before, but I will say it again. He said, this thing that this Baba is doing is very good. What about if this Baba dies? Can you imagine? No, when they've not seen any evil in us anymore, they've not seen any corruptness in us, they've not been able to attach any misdemeanor error to us, they're not saying, what if he dies? Dying, is it by age? What if you die? Oh, go to the seminary and see whether not by age that they carry them enter the place. What if that Baba dies? If Baba dies, what happens? Are you going to follow him to the grave? Steve Jobs, is he not dead? Since he's up as Apple, in fact, since then we have been receiving iPhone Pro Max, this Pro Max, that. So if Bill Gates die now, your computer will break down. If Elon Musk die now, all the Tesla cars will be grounded. No, you can see how pessimistic people are. Rather than even see that, okay, if this man, what should that be? That should actually be an opportunity for you to lead. What should you do? Should you position yourself for such an event to ensure that this thing, it doesn't collapse? Just in case. If for any reason he is incapacitated, this work is good and it must go on. That should be your thought. No, the one is, if the man that just don't collapse. No, can you imagine? When I was told that yesterday, I just started laughing. I said, you just be shocked. I'm only just 62. Just in you. After all, the man who started Colonel Sanders started KFC at 65. So me, I still have 3 years to make 65. Can you imagine? Don't you say I've started early? No, don't you say that I've started early? Do you know people that have buried their parents? I mean, they have buried their children. Buried their young ones. You think it's by age, now they take enter that place. And I was just laughing yesterday. Pessimism. They are so pessimistic that they're always thinking of the worst, always believing that the worst will happen. And unfortunately, the worst actually happens to them.
But they are thinking attractive.
Yes.
They are attracted to
The worst actually then happens to them. And they now be wondering where it came from. They will be saying like some witch in the village. With their very own mind, their thoughts, that's what's going through them. That's what's going through them. What if death comes? What if death comes? And death will now start looking. Who is thinking of death? Because it's an energy. It's that like I hear somebody calling me. Who is calling death? Who is calling death? He will now pass my house because he can't see me thinking about death. And who is that when he's talking about death? And the energy is drawing him. And he gets there and go, bam. He knocks somebody's head there. And he starts screaming that somebody is doing them. Doubt. Now what? I don't know. I just pray. Are we seeing how your character affects business now? Doubt. Unbelief. A lack of conviction. Double-mindedness. Uncertainty. Easily discouraged. Always looking for an exit strategy. Mostly aloof. Suboptimal performance. Lackluster performance. No initiative. Extreme lethargy. Will eventually fall away. Anybody you see carrying a doubtful spirit, don't join them. Oh. But that's why God says, let that man not think that he will receive from you. If you have double-minded, you can't get. When somebody is double-minded following you to business, it will destroy your business. Oh. It will destroy your business. Because that's the aura it will attract into your business. You to yourself, don't be the person that is doubting. Don't doubt. Don't become the doubter, the Thomas. Disobedience. You will not follow instructions. Because we get that instruction, that's why you will not even do it. You will not follow instructions. You will not follow lawful orders. You can't command me. Who are you to tell me what to do? Always opposing whatever is happening. They will incite rebellion. Disobedient children. They will incite rebellion. If they are in your business, they will destroy your business. They will destroy it. Either as employees or a partner, they will destroy your business. Selfishness. I don't even need to talk about this one. Selfishness. Dishonesty in court. Deceitfulness. We talked about scarcity mindset. Then poverty. Poverty. If you carry a poor man into your business, it will reduce your business to its level. If you put a poor man, a man with a poverty mindset as general manager in your business, there will be nothing to manage. There will be nothing to manage. He will bring it down. Sir? That's what's happening to yes. It's crazy. Procrastination, another evil one. Go ahead, go and read our book. It's in we posted it. I'm reading from it right now. It's on our Ebony Word Forum. Go and read that our small book on character. I had to dig back into that because of our question the last time, and that was because we didn't see it. But we have touched on that several times. Malice. Then I also begin to talk about virtues. The highest virtue is humility. Humility. When God says, I will lift the humble. God will just lift you up when you are humble. Humble yourself. You know, if you can do that in business, you will go far. Just humble yourself. Me, I'm working on myself on that. Because I know that I'm a very proud person. Am I not? But I'm proud, but I'm not prideful. I'm proud, but I'm not prideful. I'm just proud of who I am. Yes. But people take that as arrogance. He who is not proud of his color, who he is not what? Is not fit to live. It's not fit to live. Humility is the quality of having a modest or low view of one's importance. Don't overrate yourself, of one's importance. Humble people handle stress more effectively and report higher levels of physical and mental well-being. Humble people. They also show greater generosity, helpfulness, and gratitude. All things that can serve to draw you close to others who can help you in your journey. Humility allows people to be open to the possibility of making a mistake. You know that, you understand? Because he's humble, he will admit his mistakes, and then he's therefore open to correction. It's an integral part of leadership and character development. Here are 7 reasons that humble leaders are increasingly sought after. Here are 7 reasons that humble leaders are increasingly sought after. And I don't want to mention names, especially in the Nigerian environment. Number 1, they don't abuse their authority. Humble leaders do not abuse their authority. Genuinely humble leaders see themselves as coaches and mentors, always looking for practical ways to encourage and motivate others. Humility is not the same as stupidity. I hope you understand that. Don't take humility for stupidity. Now because somebody is humble, he must become stupid. That's not what we're saying. So that's why we are telling you those things that exemplify humility. 2, they constantly look to promote other people. Not themselves, they want to promote other people. They promote based on skill, talent, and hard work. Not favoritism, not nepotism, not godfatherism, not man, no man. Number 3, they model and support collaboration. That we should cooperate, work together. Collaboration. When collaboration becomes the norm, team members feel more relaxed and are able to bring their full abilities and skills to the workplace. Number 4, they model integrity and trust. Humble leaders model integrity and trust. With humble leaders, what you see is what you get. No frills. No personal aggrandizement. No exaggerations. What you see is what you get. Number 5, they are supportive of their staff. They are supportive of their people. They are supportive of their team members. They will acknowledge when something goes wrong, but focus on solutions and the learning possibilities for what went wrong, rather than be discussing who to punish and who to ascribe blame to. They are not into the blame game. They are focused on solutions when things go wrong and the learning points from those things that went wrong. Then number 6, they are able to admit their mistake and shortcomings. They are able to admit their mistakes and shortcomings. Humble leaders don't have the need to feel that they are the smartest in the room. They don't need it. That they know it all. No. They may know much, but they are not afraid to admit that they don't know everything. Then finally, number 7, they are the first to take responsibility and the last to take credit. Whereas for some of us, it is the other way around. The first to take the credit and the last to accept any blame. They are the first to take responsibility, but last to take credit. They have a team-first mindset. They're not thinking of their own victory. They want the team to win first. Always looking for ways to support and get the most for their team members. Always looking for ways to support and get the most for their team members. Now, finally, I'm going to close with one more, integrity. I'm going to close with that. Of course, there are a lot more. But for the sake of our time, that we may be able to discuss, I want to close with that before we play some videos for us. Integrity. Integrity. What is integrity?
Being true to your word, to yourself, and to your community.
Yes. Integrity is wholeness, completeness. When you talk about integrity of something, yes, what you have just said, that's the common definition we ascribe to it, but integrity actually means whole. Everything working together perfectly. No error. That's integrity. Everything, bam, 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 bam. Yes. What you have just said now is also true, but we actually ascribe that to discipline, as we'll see later. Being true to your word, that's discipline. We said it before, as we were discussing just now. Saying what you mean and meaning what you say. That's actually discipline. But integrity is all of them working together as one whole. Integrity is wholeness, completeness, or the togetherness of a system or body. It is being true to values or principles when you cannot be held accountable. Integrity is what you do when no one is there watching you. The scarcest commodity in the business landscape is integrity. That's the scarcest commodity. Integrity is the foundation of all character development. Integrity is the foundation of all character development. All other traits rise and fall on integrity. All the other traits rise and fall on integrity. Integrity is aligning your conduct with what you know to be excellent. A person of integrity always seeks to reflect ethical standards and do the right thing regardless of the circumstances. Acting with integrity gives you peace of mind in knowing you did the right thing regardless of the outcome. Integrity inhibits moral failure. Integrity inhibits moral failure and eliminates compromise or cheating. Choose to live in integrity. Choose to do business in integrity by clarifying your values and beliefs up front and being true to them. Thank you.